by Steve Folkes. Now Price plays it and Kenny passes to Cronin, then the run around. He gets inside one, gets his arms free, gets out of a tackle. Kenny might score here. It's gone back to Cronin. Cronin gets it back to Kenny. Kenny's going towards the corner. He's in! Kenny is in for Parramatta's try. Parramatta's third try scored by Brett Kenny. Well, Canterbury Bankstown, they must have thought that this man was untouchable, Brett Kenny. He seemed to stand there for an age, and it would appear doing nothing. But he and Cronin, well, they were performing their own Houdini. See it all again on the Rank Arena replay, in a tackle, out of a tackle. Then he comes to an end here in a moment, finds Cronin. Now, Cronin's allowed to do the same. It's as if you're not allowed to touch this man. Away goes Michael heading for the ground, but it's back to Kenny. And Kenny's in the scoreboard corner.
Well, it's just very basic and simple defence here that's letting the Canterbury side down. Kenny again going through some very, very poor defence, being able to stand. Canterbury just standing off, waiting for Parramatta players to do what they like with the ball. On that occasion, might have been ahead of a Shepherd, but there's 3 and 4 Canterbury players there, and, well, Canterbury at 6s and 7s, as you said before.
Kenny has taken it, and it's a brilliant sprint, you know, through the pass. And Garay may have hurt himself there. He came in hard against the upright. Seems to be okay. Let's just see the action again. The Frenchman trying to move the ball wide. Garay threw the ball, and Kenny juggled it. Enormous acceleration and sprinted away. Gerard followed him, chased him hard, but wasn't able to get there. So that's a good try.
South Wales win the scrum, quickly going along the line now, but look at this Queensland defence coming up. Here's Kenny. Kenny stepping inside, makes a couple of metres and right into the sticky area.
By Wigan, now Batley moving it hot on the attack onto Carroll. Carroll sends a long one, and it's been intercepted. Has he got the legs? Kenny going for the line, and he'll make this easily. Well, that was unfortunate for Batley, but Kenny spotted it well.
Dummy half is Lee Beater. Mosley's looking for attention. It's Sterling. A cutout pass to Kenny. Kenny swerves and he goes through a hole. Shearer to beat. Clell coming at him. Inside he says to Hunt, and Hunt gets the ball back to Kenny, and Kenny scores. Oh, Brett Kenny at his brilliant best scores for the Eels. There's the Foster's Lager replay of Kenny going in and around and between Hardy and Blake. He's calling out to Delroy to come inside. Hunt comes inside, and then Hunt somehow or other gets a pass away, and Kenny's there waiting for it and plunges over for the Eels' third try, and most certainly a place in the Cup final of 1986.
Well, if you want to have a look at some of the brilliant individual skills of rugby league, you would need go no further than this try. Firstly, it was the acceleration from Kenny as he skipped outside of his man and into a hole. He flicked the ball back inside, and then he backed up again on the outside to take a pass and charge over for a great try.
Taking the ball going the opposite direction, so you'd like to think that no one had run it down. So, yeah, I don't think there was anyone.
Chad, there we go. Good at it. 100% record.
From New South Wales wrapping up this State of Origin series. Here's Kenny. Kenny shows it one way, the overhead pass for Growth. Growth out of Lewis's tackle. Still going, Growth.
Kiss out to Holden. Lob pass, slow pass. Kenny having told it, see the gap. Benton going for the line. He's got support inside. Going on his own. A good try. A good individual try by Kenny.
Had their best scoring opportunity late in the first half, but Kenny stopped the movement dead in its tracks.
Who was that? Kenny!
It's a very bad wind. That's a contest that all the players have been looking forward to winning, and Cronin in front, and not good conditions for goal kicking today.
Kenny back on the inside to Taylor. Taylor's under the posts. And Kenny's magic footwork there absolutely riddled the St George defence. Well worth seeing again. Kenny, the run around. Look at the footwork, left and right. A beautiful call by Taylor. Obviously it was a call, and back he goes under the post from head on. Now watch the weave. Cameras pick him up there. Left, right, left again. A strong fend. The call comes, the pass is delivered perfectly.
Still plenty on here for Cronulla as Miller gets it away to Mullane, but intercepted by Kenny. And look at this fellow go. Eddinghausen chasing him. So's Murphy. Can Kenny get there? He's got the quarter line. 10 metres to go. 5, 4, and he's there. Well, my goodness me. How can you stop this Parramatta side just when Cronulla...
Away they go. Eastern Suburbs running from left to right. White shorts and the red, white and blue jerseys. Parramatta in the yellow strip today with the blue pants. And the bust being made by Kenny right from the outset. He's up towards halfway, but the cover finally comes to him. Terry Face.
Other winger, Neil Hunt. Parramatta getting a replacement ready, or two in fact, as we find Brett Kenny streaming up the centre. Connor was after him, but I don't think they'll catch Kenny. He's over. Brett Kenny scoring for Parramatta, 32 points to 21. To 32 points to 21. This is how it happened on the head-on Rank Arena replay. Cronin got the pass inside for Ella. Ella juggled just for a second. Then he took the tackle of Brooks and then Kenny backed him up. And there is no more to tell.
Having a big game, Cronin, and again he was the one that set that try right up.
$1,000.
Yeah, right.
That's for the year, not the week. That was for the year, and it was great, you know, and you know, find myself playing first grade that year, and you know.
6 minutes of time remaining. 10 points the difference in favour of the visitors. Peter Webb, Ray Price. They'll score again. They'll score again. Brett Kenny goes in. Brett Kenny scores Parramatta's 4th try.
Ella on the burst now, looking for support, gets it in Kenny. Look at the way Kenny cuts through the opposition. Beautiful piece of football, and that gave Parramatta the lead 7 points to 2. Look at it from the head on. You see the way he slices. Look, leaves Aylett standing for dead, lines up the fullback, leaves, well, just left them all behind as Kenny goes in for the try, and that put the game beyond doubt.
Notice out there to the left that Neil Hunt is a little bit winded. He's all right now. Kenny with the ball. Kenny straight through the gap. Kenny coming up to the line. Oh, really very solidly knocked then as he ran into Ron Sigsworth and also Terry Fay. Mayer's going to the ball. He almost held onto that too long. I think he did.
About a 45 degrees angle. It hasn't got the length, and Steve Ella takes it in the field of play.
Yes, and that's going to be one of the problems that Canterbury Bankstown could have in this match. Mick Cronin's an excellent goal kicker, can kick the ball 40 or 50 metres. Armstrong just hasn't got that distance.
Kenny made a long run before flick passing to Ella.
The centre of the ruck. Yeah, outstanding first half by Fennick. Also, he's had 8 hit-ups, which is a big plus when you look at the work rate factor.
To Parramatta, Shane Flanagan leading the way from Cameron Blair.
Here we go.
Parramatta racing away. Brett Kenny's got his hands on the ball and he's scored a try. And he can't believe his luck. 26 to 8 all of a sudden. I've got to admit, I was taking a look at that tackle count when it happened. There it is, North's in possession, just short of halfway.
Was intercept Warren, he just got his hand on it, popped it up for himself and went all the way. This is one of his masterpieces, really, over the years. Brett Kenny's come up with plenty of those with his great anticipation.
Yeah, you're right, there's no fluke when he goes for an intercept, are they, John? He has that anticipation, he does it so often. It popped up in the air and there he is, hanging onto it. So, will this throw a cat amongst the pigeons? It's 26 to 8, kick to come for Parramatta.
It's exactly what Parramatta needed. Here we go. Brett Kenny, beautiful timing. Eyes on the ball at all times. His speed is well. He's lost a little bit, but tell you what, no one's going to catch him from there.
Craig Wilson, big smile on his face. Craig Wilson and Glenn Lydiard, of course, his former Parramatta teammate chasing him. That was what the smile was all about.
Well, Paul Dunn may never get another shot at that, but that was the pass. Just trying to put a player in daylight. This guy's just got it because he's got great anticipation. The good players make it happen, and Brett Kenny over.
Out to Holden. Holden on to Edwards. Edwards to Kenny. Kenny, a long pass to Gill. Beautiful pass. Gill must be in the corner. Well, that was a fantastic pass from Kenny.
And it's gone out now to Taylor. Taylor to Kenny. Kenny puts the grubber kick in behind Guerin. Guerin's put it over the dead ball line. So it'll be a line drop out to restart it again.
Everybody that I've spoken to about the game, Parramatta is such a well-drilled and well-oiled combination that, you know, they could just about do this to anybody on the day that they're not the...
Sharp. Taylor. Kenny, the dummy. Beautiful weaving run up over halfway and taken from behind by Broughton.
Parramatta with Lydiard looking very, very safe, and Eric Growth bumping off one, and away goes Growth and got a ball away beautifully to Ella. Magnificent. Now it's to Kenny. Kenny upfield, gets around Eddinghausen. Kenny's got plenty of pace. Eddinghausen valiantly dives and pulls him down with a desperation tackle by the young fellow.
Sterling, away through Kenny, wide to Taylor, good break, nice ball to Hunt, and Ella back inside to Kenny. Kenny's looking for support, he's got it to Hunt, just short of the line. Kenny's over, first try of the game to Parramatta. And Taylor got a good cutout pass onto him and then sent it up for Ella. Ella looking back in field as he comes to Jack, gives it to Kenny. There's Neil Hunt a long way inside. And Hunt with a quick play the ball after Hanrahan's tackle. And Balmain can't get back in time. Hardwick's there, but Kenny's in.
Edge, Taylor, Sterling, Cronin, Mares, Kenny. Kenny's going to the halfway line. He's still going and Taylor comes up in support. Couldn't pop the pass.
Parramatta through Kenny. Kenny's gone straight through. Kenny being chased by Lazenby. Lazenby won't get him. Oh, vintage Brett Kenny in under the post. Parramatta 4, Penrith 0.
Well, I watched Brett Kenny play last week, and he really still has all the class, all the genius, maybe not quite the pace, but this man is still a master footballer, and look at him here, just great football by Kenny. Out it comes from the scrum, they spin it wide, Barnes sending it out to Kenny, the little bit of run around to put a bit of indecision into the minds of the defence, the dummy to trick Baker, that left Lazenby chasing, he didn't quite have the pace, Kenny couldn't outstrip him, years ago he would have left him for dead, but he had enough pace to get there, but wasn't that beautiful work up front. Give a little bit of credit here to Barnes, he does the run around, puts a bit of indecision into the minds of the centres, Kenny straight through, and look at the way he left Baker. Baker said, well, he must pass it. Everyone thought he would, but not Kenny. Held it up beautifully, and away he goes. Despairing dive, and Parramatta on the board.
Well, not much luck. I think you've got to give credit to the team.
This is becoming evident now with North Sydney. You've won your last 5 on the trot there, and building up a home crowd.
Played again back to Edge and out to Sterling, on to Brett Kenny, now to Michael Cronin. Run around for Kenny, trying to clear up the out. Oh, Ella's through the centres, down to the line. Ella's in. Parramatta in to score the first try of the big one at Belmore.
Well, last week I mentioned I thought Parramatta played the game far too much in the forwards, but a great ball from Brett Kenny to Ella. Michael Blake on that occasion didn't commit himself, and the pace of Ella was, while he caught Graham Eady napping and went in for a top start.
Parramatta stayed on top of the table, still unbeaten, with a relentless display against Cronulla. It took them a quarter of an hour to crack the Sharks when Brett Kenny slipped through the defence. The Parramatta machine.
Price will have a go himself, I think. Now he passes wide to Brett Kenny. Kenny dummies. Kenny, can he pass? He does, he finds Grove. Grove goes for the corner, it's a try. Parramatta's got out of jail. The Eels are out of jail. My goodness, can you believe that the Premiers would go so far looking like they were beaten, and then all of a sudden Kenny dummied to Cronin, and Rogers knew what they were up to, and Growth goes in to score in the Paddo Hill corner, the corner that lost Parramatta a grand final one year, and I don't have to remind Neville Glover of the incident I'm talking about.
Brett Kenny's the man that can turn the game in a twinkling of an eye, and here he's done it. He stood in a tackle. I thought maybe Steve Rogers should have come over the top to finish off the progress of the ball. Kenny got a long ball away to Eric Growth, and once he gets his sights on the sideline, that's on the try line, that's the end of it, and in goes Growth with Rogers clinging to him, planting the ball down for a tremendous Parramatta try.
So there's the
He doesn't lack in guts. He's got plenty of it. Steve Sharp. Muggleton, oh, look at this overlap. 3 of them. Kenny striding away for the corner and steps inside Baker and brings it around just a few more valuable metres.
Platt. And to Fox. Little side foot kick, nicely fielded by Shearer, back to his quarter, gets it away to Jack. Jack tries to run round his man, does that. And an opportunity to link with O'Connor. O'Connor gets it back on the inside to Kenny. Kenny uses beautiful footwork. He's through the middle there and beautiful tackle. Taylor. Murray. I thought hit a little bit late. The referee has thought the same thing too, but he played an advantage rule, and that's a very good ruling as Brett Kenny picked up the breaks and dives over in the corner for yet another Parramatta try. Well, a good effort from the referee. He was very nearly blowing his whistle for a penalty, but played the advantage, and that's a good ruling because that's a good try. And here's Murray. Watch, he's hit late there. Now the referee, you might even see him put his whistle to his mouth there, about to call halt play, but Kenny was able to pick it up, and that's Kenny's 12th try for 1983.
Now it's Price. Kenny. Cut out ball. Jackson will score in the corner. Yes, it's a try for Brian Jackson.
Can create awful problems for most teams, and let me say this to you, in watching the NEC replay, they would have worked very much on spreading the ball quickly to the extremities for Wednesday night. It didn't work very well on Wednesday night, but it's obviously starting to click into gear today.
There is a great variety of passes here. Firstly, the short ball by Ray Price to Brett Kenny to bring the defence in, and then the long ball over the top by Kenny to Jackson. Great Parramatta football.
Paulson, he's lost it. Sterling, they've got to score if the big pass comes from Kenny. Kenny dummies, goes himself. Jackson scores. Jackson's going around to improve it.
And only drew the scrums 8-all against that former reserve grade hooker.
Yes, which perhaps...
had they had more ball, Parramatta might have scored more points.
Yes. I think we'll all acknowledge that it was a marvellous performance from Parramatta, but what about Eastern Suburbs? They've got monumental problems over there. They really have.
Excuse me, I've been saying that all season, and I'm glad the Crows have come home to roost. Is that the same?
Between 8 and 10 by Graham. Here's Bridge. And wrapped up by Jerd. He's lost the ball. Kenny's off. Kenny will score. Well, I'll be blown. What a mistake for Gary Bridge and for Balmain. And there couldn't have been a worse bloke on the scene at the time, as far as Balmain are concerned, than Brett Kenny. Because once he gets the ball in his hands, he goes from nothing to 25 k's per hour in 3 strides. NEC replay, it was just so simple. Jerd made the tackle on Gary Bridge. The ball popped out the side, and Kenny said, thank you, here's another try.
The most important thing when you're being tackled is that when you get up, you've still got the ball in your hands. That wasn't the case, and Brett Kenny, he's a master at capitalising on mistakes. He scooped up the loose ball, headed for the try line, and he did it oh so easily.
Brett Kenny, a genius footballer. Whether you support Parramatta, it doesn't matter.
5 tackles gone for the Eels. Peter Sterling, Brett Kenny. Kenny holds the half back. David Lydiard. Lydiard inside quarter. Passes. Steve Ella. Ella is in for his second try. Well, it was Peter Sterling who got the pass to Kenny, but he did the damage, Kenny. He just held it up and got it round the corner, which he does so well. And then Lydiard, cool as a cucumber. Oh, look at Steve Ella. Super glue.
Put this down to Peter Sterling and Brett Kenny. Sterling on that occasion electing not to go for the kick on the 6th tackle. He saw that Manly was stretched out wide, as did Brett Kenny. A great long ball to Lydiard. On this occasion, he picked his mark. A beautiful pass back inside to Ella. Parramatta really putting on all the power.
As Kitch comes over. Kitch on to Ford. Ford hoists one. A high one right underneath the post. Kenny's up there. Ball's loose. Picked up by Wigan. Still trying to keep the ball moving as Donlan gets the ball going. Gets it out to Kenny. Kenny going for the line. A dummy his way and he's over. Beautiful dummy from Kenny.
Taylor. Kenny. Long ball to Sterling. They've got to score. Atkins gets the try. Scorer. And maybe, I'm not suggesting for a moment that Parramatta has been unlucky here today. Far from it. But there is an example of something Graham Hughes was suggesting to them a long, long time ago. You won't beat them up the middle. You've got to reach the extremities.
Parramatta always had the numbers here. It was just a case of shifting the ball out wide, a long pass over the top. Then Sterling finally drew and gave onto Atkinson. He did the rest and scored in the corner.
This is Sharp.
Brendan Hall in jumper number 19, getting ready for Easts, together with Mansfield in 26. Here's Kenny showing it, and then he's gone through an opening, Kenny. Here comes Ella. Ella and Kenny coming down on Coldbriar, and Steve Ella scores the try. Kevin Roberts took a tumble in the background, but the combination of Kenny and Ella have put it on. Well, that's the first real split that Kenny has shown Australian crowds since Wembley. He had a disappointing one at Brookvale, but here he was creating his own magic as he showed it and then went into a half.
Now it's Brett Kenny. Cuts out Cronin, picks up Lydiard. Lydiard got inside Bridge. One to beat. Kenny's on his inside. Kenny takes it nicely. And Kenny is in for a try.
There's no one to pass to if they moved it wide. The kick has been charged down. Fox takes it. Away to Wally Lewis. Pumps it out to Kenny. Tries his step. Gets it to O'Connor. O'Connor's gone up round Ledger. Tries to stand up on him. Gets it away to Jack. Jack looking for three. Got it inside to Kenny. And Kenny's in for a try. Oh, yes. Great stuff. Australia carved them up. They've decimated, dissected, and absolutely diabolically destroyed this Great Britain side today. The absolute refusal of the Australian side to die in possession. O'Connor swiveled away from the sideline, got it to Jack, thought he was in for three, finally held onto Kenny. Little Fox's tackle ineffective, but the big boy, the tall, beautifully balanced Kenny goes in for another Australian try.
Put up a performance, but just let me ask you this question. Of course, Cronulla had a midweek game. Just how flattening effect?
No, I think played this week.
This week. I'm asking you the...
4 or 5 yards head start on the opposition. He's played very, very strongly in the last couple of weeks.
Price. Back in for Kenny. There's more trouble coming for the Tigers. Cut out ball from Kenny to Muggleton. Muggleton scores.
He's had a great game the night. Tremendous captain's knock. He stood in a tackle and slipped it back to Kenny. Now, Kenny had the choice there of any one of 3 players to give the ball to. He picked it.
Sterling. Brett Kenny, long ball, cuts out Price, cuts out Cronin. Laurie turns it inside to Cronin. Cronin gives it outside to Delroy. Delroy stands in a tackle, gives it back to Ray Price, and Price burrows over for the first try of the match. In the first 2 minutes, and Parramatta mounted pressure that Penrith eventually couldn't withstand. It was a tremendous pass by Kenny. It went very wide to Laurie. He danced on the spot, turned it inside to Cronin, who gave it outside now to Delroy. And then Delroy, there's not much of him. He's able to stand. Nobody came over the top. Well, they did, but it was too late. He got it off to Price. He burrowed through Goodwin and Alexander, and there's your first try.
I thought that Laurie might have looked on the outside. He had his winger Delroy in support, but he elected to turn the ball back on the inside. It worked out fine for him. It was Cronin who stood in the tackle. He drew the defence, switched it back onto Delroy there. The tackle wasn't finished off. That allowed him to get the ball back to Price, and he bumped his way through for the...
That were Kenny and Sterling. What made them such a special halves combination?
The talk that they did. Bert's crazy. He is a dead set. He would do anything. And he's got the pace to stand someone up cold. When people kept saying, oh, no...
A lot of people thought to start with, too. He was initially had a lot of trouble when he came to league, and that terrible knee injury, which he came back from.
Well, to me, it's Parramatta that are definitely the side to beat. You know, like Manly...
They're the ones where they get the advantage from it.
Yeah, and every club does.
Cool. I think the only thing you can say in favour of that he has gone through the correct channels, which is the constitution of rugby league. Now,
about the first half, who's playing his first grade game, is right on our side of the field here. We'll have a good look at him. Well, Kenny's got himself into the clear and he's going beautifully. He's got up through the quarter, gets a pass out there to number 2. Jeff Pearl, and Pearl's in for the try. I suggest that's his first try in first grade, and he'll be a very, very pleased boy.
Gives some orders out in the back line to shorten their passes up only a moment or so ago. But see all the qualities, as I say, of a champion. He just read that gap. He read that the gap was back on the inside, and the body swerve, the great swerve of Kenny, taking him away from the cover defence, settling himself there for the pass out to Jeff Pearl. Perfectly placed, and a great try and a great way for Parramatta to start this second half. Sterling takes it to the defence. Kenny stepping. Flick for Sterling. Unloads for Lydiard, who's got Pekovic. Could this be number 2? Does he have the legs to get there? No, Sterling does.
Sterling's got a try. It's Jackson.
Jackson, and that's a very good try. Now Kenny's beautiful stuff. The little body swerve, wrong foot's O'Sullivan, gets it back to Sterling. Sterling away there. Now here's Kragovic on the sprint. He's really moving. He thought he was going to get there on his own. Tackled from behind by Martin, but
Parramatta have conceded the ball 4 times back to the opposition. Eastern Suburbs twice. Cronin. Lovely pass. Dummies being thrown. A flick back inside to Glover.
The likes of Sterling, Eric Grace, and John Muggleton were all around the same age.
He'd had enough of getting beaten for the scrums, even when his own halfback was putting it in.
Kenny running off a Sterling special. Kenny's to the 22. Delroy will take it on. Delroy will put the icing on this cake.
It's a beautiful ball, this one from Sterling. He knew exactly where he wanted to put it, and Kenny knew where it was going. He charged into the hole. Sterling put the ball there. It was simply a matter then of catching it. He came to the fullback. Robards drew him, timed his pass to perfection onto the winger Delroy, and he had enough pace.
Across to Topper. Topper swinging it wide, has found Mackie coming through hard as upfield. Back inside, he's found his winger Brown. Kick ahead by Mackie, taken beautifully by Kenny. Kenny bouncing through one tackle, pushes up another, looks to the corner line on the point.
Ericsson from dummy half. Kenny steps straight through. Looks for his winger, Mann looming up in support. Out it goes to Mann. McCann across with a great tackle and stopped them from scoring. There's the man who made the break with a tremendous little step. He ducked away from Hardwick and Sirinen.
Plenty of defence there. One of these things where Kenny just gets through, slips under his tackle. Great ball to Mann, but a great tackle by McCann.
It was a yard forward, that pass out to Sterling. The little grubber kick goes to Ledger, and he takes it well. He's been put under pressure a few times, and again, Kenny with a copybook tackle.
Kenny puts a kick in. It's too deep, I think, the kick from Kenny. Now it's stopping in the in goal, and Gonzalez is going to field it, and it'll be a line drop out to Reese. Oh, he's lost it! He's lost the ball, and Jackson has scored for Parramatta. Well, what an embarrassing moment in the career of Ben Gonzalez. But they were going for the move that Mitchell Cox and Dale Shearer performed so well for Manly. And here's the ball lollying around. It stops. Gonzalez picks it up. He takes the tackle, and out it pops.
Sharp. Kenny. He'll go on and score. His second try of the night.
Yes, well, that was a final quarter. Here it is from the head on.
This is one youngster, Brett Kenny, who I hope the selectors give another shot. And I certainly will be I'll be happy.
Icicles coming out of the sky, very dark. But Australia come up with a scrum. Well, that's Robin Whitfield went down, but play still goes on as Miles gets it out to Gary Jack. Gary Jack makes a split. He's got Kenny onside. Inside, Kenny takes the ball. Oh, and he's just brought down. Still standing for the line. Ran back to the 22, so it was a little hard.
Well, if he didn't award the try, that'd have been a protest from the Australians because it was a fair try, but certainly Whitfield ran straight away. Now watch it again with us as Kenny slipped out of that tackle. He's down, not held, up, down, and not held, and he certainly was not held as he grounded the...
Potter. Ooh, it looked almost interception, but Kenny's done some good from it. David Stevenson. Oh, he's got Donlan with him. Graham West. Is he in? Oh, good backing up. Henderson Gill. Magnificent try.
I will play it 5 minutes short. Greentree to Sterling. The long cut-out ball for Kenny. Kenny still going. Looks for support. Got it away to Lydiard. Talo's the scorer. This man Sterling had a lot of input straight out to Kenny. Kenny weaves, comes back on the inside, beats another tackle there from Coyne. Comes to Belcher, looks for support, gets a pass away out there to Lydiard. Lydiard out to Botello, and Botello.
I think you can win a bet on that. Mick Cronin very casually took that one-handed. Bob O'Reilly. Still managed to get his pass to Price with this beautiful football. Look at the outside. great one from head on. Now O'Reilly's skill again, well and surely in evidence. Price calling for it, finds the gap. You'll notice that the defence is coming across pretty fast. That pass back inside. Gee, that took a bit of football skill to pick that one up.
Crowd, not in a capacity crowd, as Ward comes and gets a good run away, getting it to Schofield. He can't evade the tackle there of Kenny, who's put in a splendid...
Those teams looking to move the ball around, certainly. Jason Ryan picking up Brett Kenny. There's numbers out here, and he's done well picking up Krankovic.
There's the angle by Krankovic.
Kenny. The call from the defence here saying that he will duck. This man's ducking nothing. Ericsson beats the fullback. In and away, Parramatta. Every time they...
What's this one?
Yes.
Came away with this impression.
Well, as you said, it was very wet ground. This was the first try scored, but this was a funny game. It was 33-9, and you'd say it was a very convincing performance by Parramatta, and you would have to agree.
Can we allow players to persistently infringe?
No.
They can't.
I think it's a good idea.
Well, what they used to do in our day, Len, and you...
And in that period, there was a lot of chances that come Parramatta's way, and good sides make their own way, and they certainly did. There's no doubt about it. There were many times, though, Penrith had broken their defence, really, and thrown some stupid passes.
The last of Parramatta's 5 tries went to Brett Kenny, with Atkins kicking 6 from 7 to give the Eels a resounding 32 points to 0 victory.
A dynasty was beginning to form. Jack Gibson's side began the season with a rare opportunity of a three-peat firmly fixed in the players' minds. The opening round began with a date with familiar foe, the Newtown Jets, at Campbelltown Stadium.
Parramatta with a chance now. This is Kenny. Oh, vintage Kenny slips the pass to Krankovic. Taylor. Oh, the pass intercepted by the intercept magician. Kenny might have had his speed dimmed, but he's still an outstanding player. Super try.